And it's almost the middle of my 13-day hike in the north of Sweden as we arrive at day 6. Making this video, I realized that I was pretty tired of the day and complaining a lot. Sorry about that, but let's have some laughs, counting how many times I can complain in a day. As always, I got up before sunrise, quietly had breakfast and packed so that I don't disturb other travelers in the hut, and was on my merry way.
Morning, it's day 6, and today I should do 22 kilometers, skipping one hut. I'll probably sit down there to have a cup of tea and an energy bar. I feel really tired, as I usually feel on days 6 and 7. I kind of regret deciding to do another part of Kungsleden. I could have stopped after day 8. That's where I come to a civilized mountain station, where the bus goes back to civilization. But I decided to continue for 5 more days, making it 13, and I don't know how that's gonna work. But on the other hand, I always feel like that in the morning, because I woke up at 4:30, now it's a bit after 6. I just always wake up early to enjoy the sunrise and to make sure that I will be able to do double distance in time. And then I usually feel much better in the afternoon, especially if the weather is good. Yeah, but I have to cross a couple of streams, so my shoes will be full of water again, because I don't have wading shoes, and I'm kind of afraid of taking my shoes off and just walking barefoot, because I was told that you might cut your foot really badly and not even feel it in the cold water. But it's just one more day of wet feet, because today I'm joining the main Kungsleden, which means there'll be a lot of people, which is very annoying. But also the main Kungsleden is very, well, it's much easier than these off main road paths where you have to cross the streams, where there's lots of rocks. Main Kungsleden is pretty easy to hike in comparison to what I've done in the last 6 days. That cheers me up, definitely.
Suddenly, the world I used to know, I see it differently. You woke me from a dream, now here's reality. Baby, baby, you are really hurting me. 'Cause every time you tell me I look good in bed, I'm doing fine, but nothing ever changes. And now I see, baby, you are hurting.
It's the 3rd time I'm leaving Nallo Hut behind in summer season, and still I can't get over the beauty of the area, especially the view behind me. It's good it's behind though. If it were in front, I'd be stopping every minute to take one more picture.
But baby, it's breaking my heart. How could I know if you don't need
You can see why I'm getting up before sunrise. I love seeing that sunlight first touching the mountaintops and then slowly moving lower and lower to the ground. The second reason is avoiding all the bustle of a morning in a cabin when all the hikers want to use the kitchen at the same time. Okay, Nallo had just a couple of other hikers staying there this night. But when you are on a more popular trail, it's rather annoying. No thank you, I want to be out and away before that.
Now I just keep thinking maybe I should take my shoes off when crossing the stream, because it's so nice to have dry feet. And yesterday when my feet were completely wet, I was freezing all day. But also I'm so nervous about it. I really need to get myself a pair of wading shoes. Then again, Listen, hiking on these off the main road paths.
How could I know if you don't need me? Just let me know when I go. I know you're playing your part, 'cause I go, but baby, it's breaking my heart.
Here, I had to cross the first stream of the day, the same I crossed yesterday on my day hike. On the bright side, it wasn't raining. I even got a bit of sunshine here and there. The stream wasn't as deep as the year before. It's really surprising how things change from season to season. The year before, it was knee-deep. Now, the water was considerably lower. Then, I had to walk by the side of a large glacier lake. It's always amazing how blue the water is.
It's so magical how life can be. We can be anything in our own fantasy. Pirates on the seas and kings and queens. Everyone's here to see what we've been creating. I hear my cue, and now it's time to show them what we can do. I forget what time it is when
I managed to get to the stream, sacrificing just one foot. So one of my feet is full of water. The other one is reasonably dry as dry as it was able to get overnight by the fire. Now it's a bit cold, chilly. It's very windy today, and quite humid. I'm very much looking forward to getting to the hut that I'm skiing today. I will pay a day fee, and that allows you to sit in for a bit and cook yourself lunch or something. I'm not going to cook because I have my energy bars and I have my tea inside my thermos, but it would be nice to sit inside for a bit. But it's still quite far away. But look at the scenery. The scenery is really something. It's not the first time I'm going this way. I was following the same route. Well, starting from today, for the next 3 days, it will be part of the same route I took last year. But last year, it was raining cats and dogs, and I couldn't see anything. And now I can actually see stuff. That's why sometimes you have to hike the same route again and again to actually be able to see it. But yeah, it's very dramatic and romantic, and I have a suitable detective mystery in my ears of my audiobooks.
hold up, it's a final show. After all hard work, we learn and we grow. Stage is set, lights are bright, ready to shine for our friends tonight.
I just remember how miserable I was last year going this way. It was raining so badly and the wind was so horrible I couldn't see anything, and the water was really high last year. So when I crossed the stream, it was up to my knees. My feet were completely wet, and this whole area was really wet with icy water, so I was shivering all the time. And the stones were so slippery, I was afraid to fall, and at some point I actually slipped and I fell into a puddle and I just started crying. But then obviously that's the thing about traveling alone. You still need to get up and continue going. And then I got up and I continued going, and I got to Sälka Hut. And then I was able to sit in the warmth for 20-30 minutes, and it made me so happy in comparison to the hours of being in the rain and in the cold.
see, I'm already considerably more cheerful, especially after having a cup of tea and an energy bar. And I no longer think, why am I doing this to myself? I'm kind of happy and enjoying the scenery and looking forward to the rest of the day and the other days. Not another one. I hate these icy streams. I should have known that I would not get out of it without having my feet completely wet. Yeah, the water was quite high, so I had to go in, and now you have no idea how disgusting it is, because now I had my shoes completely full of water, and it makes this splashy noise as I walk. And the water is icy. It really is. It's like, well, it's snow melting. So that's the temperature of the water. I guess close to zero. Now my feet are so cold. And it's so disgusting. Just thinking fondly of all those places where I hiked without getting my feet wet, because I just had to cross another stream. And it's so annoying. I hate my wet feet. And I guess I will have to enjoy them till the evening when I get to my final hut. Maybe it will dry a little bit. It will get a little bit better. At the moment it's just water in my shoes. But when I get to my rest hut, I will try to at least get some, squeeze some water out of my socks. Maybe that will feel better. It's still so annoying. I can only cheer myself with the thought that soon I will join the main Kungsleden, and there it won't happen again, because there will be bridges.
I sound very annoying here, complaining all the time. But if you've seen my previous videos, it's not always the case. Do you have those days when you are so tired and everything feels exhausting and hard? Those wet feet that I hate anyways, slippery stones, that boring audiobook and heavy backpack, feet squealing after 5 days of misuse, muscles aching and shoulders screaming. I think I could be excused for having one bad day. It will be better tomorrow. Well, the day after tomorrow for sure. Finally, I was getting close to the rest hut of the day. Here, the wind finally subsided, which meant one thing: the drone was up. Sälka Hut is a bit annoying, in the way that you can see it from far away, but then you still need to walk and walk and walk towards it. Even worse, as you see it 100 meters away, you realize that there is a stream between you and the hut, and you need to walk away for a bit to get to the fort. This is a little room where you can stay if you are a day visitor. You pay a day fee, and then you can use a gas stove, you can cook yourself lunch, etc. I'm just boiling some water to make myself some coffee, because I just bought a little... Oh, where is it? Where's my coffee? No. Yes, I bought a little coffee in the shop, and now I will make myself coffee. I will add some hot water into my thermos. I will sit down for 15 minutes and then I will continue going. You know the best thing? I took my wet shoes off and it's so nice. I put them into the drying room. They won't dry, obviously, in 20 minutes. But it's so nice to sit down with dry feet just for 15 minutes. It's amazing. You know the annoying thing? I'm back to the main trail now and I will just continue along the main Kungsleden until Kvikkjokk. But now today I'm at the busiest part of Kungsleden trail between Abisko and Nikkaluokta. And it's so many people, just look outside. And like yesterday I saw just a couple of people. The day before I think I saw one, and the day before that I didn't even see anyone. And it was so nice, honestly. It's so nice to hike in the wild when, yeah, that's my thing about hiking. I just like to be alone in the nature, in the scary mountains. So you see, it's a bit of an exchange. You can either go along the main Kungsleden trail, which is pretty flat. It goes, as you can see, in the valleys. There is some height change. There are some some steep climbs, but maybe one or two, no more, at least at this part. That's why there is a lot of people. If you want to go into a place that doesn't have so many people, you have to encounter those rocks and those streams. So you have to, I would say, pay for it. It's beautiful though, isn't it? That's why I'm filming it on my camera with the best resolution, which I'm trying to save for the best places. But yeah, I'm only joining this most popular part of Kungsleden for today, till Singi.
As you can see here on the main trail, you have wooden planks over the most wet and rocky bits, and you have bridges that cross pretty much all the streams. There is one at the beginning, as far as I recall, which doesn't have a bridge, but you can still get over it pretty much without getting your feet wet. But tomorrow I will still continue along Kungsleden, but tomorrow at Singi, that's the place where most of the hikers leave Kungsleden and turn off the trail to get to Nikkaluokta, which is where I started 6 days ago. And only few continue further to Vakottavare. So today I have to suffer seeing a lot of people, but tomorrow it will be better. Then, after I get to Vakottavare, and then take a bus to Sälka, then it will be another rather popular bit of Kungsleden. But still none of them are as crowded as this one from Abisko to Nikkaluokta. So I'm very much looking forward to moving away, but I mean, look at this scenery. It's just gorgeous. I think I should fly my drone here.
I also realized the irony of the whole thing, because with my Instagram and now my YouTube, I constantly promote Kungsleden Trail and just the north of Sweden for hiking because it's gorgeous. And then I complain about more people coming here every year. It's funny, isn't it? Look at this. Isn't it amazing? In comparison to the terrain of the last 5 days, it's just awesome. It's flat. There are barely any rocks. I can just walk. I don't need to try to save my ankles and my knees and see where I need to step and where I cannot step. That's why I'm in such an uplifted mood. It's so easy to walk here in comparison to the last days, and it's gorgeous. How wild is this? That's my favorite part of Kungsleden Trail.
When you have hiked in a certain area for some time, you kind of get a set of little tips and tricks. Just for example, why do you think I bought a coffee just now to have my lunch, not a tea? Usually I take tea bags with me, and that's actually what I have in my thermos. I have tea because when I hike, my stomach sometimes might get upset with all the energy bars and travel food, and I don't want to heat it with coffee more than necessary. But the thing is, when you have a tea bag, you have to burn it after you use it, or you have to carry it with you, because in the huts of Kungsleden, you cannot leave any, should I say that? Call it soft garbage. Basically, you should burn what you can burn. But if it's something soft, like soft plastic, for example, chocolate wrappers, etc., my ready-made meals, the bags from those, I have to carry them with me. And carrying a wet tea bag with me is not very nice. For example, tonight I stayed in Nallo, and I know that Nallo has a wood stove, so I can just burn my tea bag after I've made myself tea. But having stayed at Sälka before, I knew that this little hut that you use for day visits, it doesn't have a wood stove, so there will not be an option of burning my tea bag. And if I bought a tea bag, I would have to carry it with me. That's why I bought a coffee. And even though I have to carry this little wrapper, plastic wrapper from the coffee with me, it's still nice, and I'm not carrying an annoying wet tea bag. Okay, so while we are on the topic of garbage, and I am in a bit of a talkative mood, let me explain you the rules. The idea of the huts here in the north is that they should have a minimal impact on the environment. That's why there is no electricity, there is no running water. They're pretty much in the middle of nowhere with no phone reception. And then what happens to all the trash that we people carry here? Well, what they usually do is that they keep it till winter. And in winter, it's being transported with snowmobiles, which means that the trash that you leave should not rot. It should survive till winter. And because of that, the trash that they accept to be left there is metal, like cans from your food, glass, hard plastic bottles. You have to wash all of that before you leave that in the garbage. And it's all separated, of course. Then they transport it in winter. But other things that can rot, like food, for example, those soft plastic wrappers that are not being recycled, you kind of have to carry everything with you. In the huts that have stoves, you can burn some things. At least I've never seen any rules against it. But of course you can only burn stuff that is healthy to burn, like paper, maybe tea bags. You cannot burn plastic. Which is why all the wrappers from my energy bars, I'm carrying them in a bag inside my backpack. And same for the wrappers from my ready-made meals. Yeah, that's how it works. They actually are more strict now, because before they used to collect burnable garbage. You could kind of leave paper and the remains of your food in there, and then they would burn it. But now they no longer do it. So you kind of need to finish your food or carry everything that is not hard plastic, metal or glass with you. Which is kind of nice. It's annoying, understandably. I'm not happy with carrying all those. I mean, they're light, but it's kind of not nice to be carrying a lot of wrappers, a lot of trash with you. But it's a good thing for the environment. And as we want all of this preserved, you kind of have to do it, even if it's annoying.
Guys my age laugh at my jokes, treat me like one of the bros. Think I'm cool but they would never date me. 'Cause girls my age have tiny waists, skin tight tan and baby faces, dance at the bar like no one's watching. And I'm just a flower on the wall, not someone you'd ever fall for. But in a couple weeks, you look at me. When I get pretty, then you'll want me. I'll be picture perfect to make you happy. I'll be
The weather is getting worse, and I'm tired again. I guess I'm having my sugar rush after the sugar rush after sitting in Sälka cabin. But there will be a small emergency cabin halfway. I can actually see it now. And I will sit down there for a little bit and cheer myself up. Maybe I will try to get a weather forecast with my GPS device and see if I need to get my raincoat out of the backpack for the next part of the trip, or if I can keep it in and just continue going.
not someone you'd ever fall for, but in a couple weeks, you look at me, and I get pretty, then you'll want me. I'll be picture perfect and make you happy.
I was about to check the weather forecast, but it became redundant because it started raining, so I anyway had to get my raincoat out of the backpack. So hello again from the traveling tent. And I still have about 2 hours to travel in the rain.
When I get pretty, then you want me. I'll be picture perfect.
I'm so tired, but at least the rain is off for a bit. Hopefully I will get to the hut like this before it really starts raining, because according to the forecast, yesterday's forecast, it's supposed to rain overnight. But yeah, I mean, the view is magical, but I'm so tired.
As you might have guessed, this is the end of day 6. I got to Singi cabin about 5:30, unpacked, put my shoes and the raincoat into the drying room, made myself my simple dinner, and went to bed early, since another double day was expecting me on day 7. I hope you stick with me to see it, and I hope you were not too annoyed by those 11 complaints along the way.